something that was sort of time and sport for that game, or something you want to see a little bit more of going forward?
No, I think there's been and will continue to be, situations like that where we have some guys, that Mo being one of them, that are young, and you're in situations where you're still trying. When I say that, what I mean by that is there's a developmental process, and there's always a balance. This isn't just about one player's development, but you are trying to find out, certain combinations, and there are certain games that lend themselves to that. That's a position, to simplify it, that Mo's played before. Majority of his time in the G League, that was his role. And obviously we've used him because we have been small, particularly against some teams that have double big lineups, at that 4 spot, so to say, meaning playing with O. So those are things we'll keep looking at. We played Miami, a week or two ago. Zach was our 4. Again, if you want to try to do a depth chart that way. So Dyson plays the point when Trey's out of the game. That wasn't something that that we were doing consistently at the beginning of the year. So I think that's part of the evolution of the team. And even at this point in the season, sometimes you find things. And the game often gives you, the motivation or the opportunity, or there's a lot of reasons that go into those types of decisions. Whether it's some team that's small and you want to go big, or a lot of times coaches will chase matchups. So if there's a team that's big and you go small, see if they want to stay big. And, the game looks different. They trade 2s for 3s. And in most cases, at that position, the shots are going to come in slightly different situations. He's going to be defending. He's probably not going to be switching as much if he's guarding the traditional 5. Or, you get a chance to switch with your center. So I think, I'm waxing on about it because there's a lot of things that go into it. And that was the case the other night.
Coach, you mentioned post-game yesterday that at this juncture of the season, it's not necessarily a game that you could flush and completely forget. You have to learn something from it, lean into it almost.
Yeah.
What specifically were you able to learn from or lean into after last night?
Yeah, I think that's one of those things that cuts both ways. I think one of the things about the NBA is you come back tonight, you've got to be thinking about Utah, not necessarily, there's a preparation component. The things that are consistent to me that we saw, we played a very physical team, a team with, between Bridges, OG, and Hart, guys that's what they do. So it's good for us to feel that and understand that in that type of game that we need to do more. And then to the extent that there's certain things, whether it's the other team shooting well or you're not shooting well, it's pretty obvious you want to shoot well. But is there a reason for that? Do you need to get better shots? And are there different shots? So shooting's an example of one of those things that sometimes you say, let's flush. But every game has its opportunities for you to get better and to learn from, even at this point in the year. And I think that's important to keep in mind.